Hello everyone. I hope everybody had a nice Christmas and a nice holiday. And this is your Monday Night Raw report for Monday night, December 29th of 2014, the final Monday Night Raw before 2015. What a show. This took place live from Washington, D.C. And a lot of excitement, a lot of buzz in the air about the Edge and Christian being the guest hosts of the show. So they come right out in the opening segment talking about how great it was, how much memories they had in the WWE while they were tag team partners before suffering career-ending injuries. You know, everybody, as well as everybody knows, whoever doesn't know, that's just following wrestling right now, Christian had to retire because of a concussions that he had received, and Edge with his neck that ended right after WrestleMania 27 when he successfully defended the World Heavyweight Championship against Alberto Del Rio in the Georgia Dome back in 2011, and of course he was so forced to call it quits in June. But they talked about all their memories and what segment they were going to have later on tonight, later on that night, with their guest host being Seth Rollins, the Money in the Bank winner. And they decided to go and call it the Edge and Peep Show. Out comes up, they're all interrupted by Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar, who comes out. Heyman, of course, doing his little, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman, you know, and Edge and Christian, of course, having to take exception to these two interrupting them, and Lesnar can do whatever he wants, comes in whatever he feels like it. Out comes John Cena confronting Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar, explaining to them that I have a couple of things, my New Year's resolution, referring to, of course, to Brock Lesnar. I'm definitely going to beat you down and win the World Heavyweight Championship, of course, for the 16th time, 17th time. I can't even lose count right now. But then he says that I'm not going to hurt you tonight because if I do, it's going to give you an excuse and a reason not to defend the World Heavyweight Championship. But I do have a present for Paul Heyman. He attempts to grab Paul Heyman and puts him in the attitude adjustment, in the position of the attitude adjustment, until Brock Lesnar attacks him, and of course John Cena recovers and then runs right after Heyman and Lesnar, and of course that ends that segment right there, as you know, John Cena was about to get it on with Brock Lesnar. But it was a nice way to electrify and open up the show, in my opinion. I think, you know, this is what you got to do to really build up every pay-per-view, and of course I still have my issues with the WWE. Still too many pay-per-views, despite the savings of the WWE network. I think they should go maybe back to 8 or maybe 5 pay-per-views a year. You know, but with the money that this company's losing right now in revenue, you know, there's still some things that needs to be bugged out, needs to be fixed right now in terms of the product and character development. But now that Roman Reigns is back, and then pretty soon we'll see somebody else back, but I'm not going to spoil a surprise right now until later on in the program during this review. Okay, and then you have a champion versus champion match. You have the Intercontinental Champion Dolph Ziggler facing Rusev, the Bulgarian Brute, the United States Champion. These two go one-on-one at it, and this was actually a pretty good match. You know, both of them going at it one-on-one. Unfortunately, Rusev got a little crazy at the end and gets himself disqualified against Dolph Ziggler. Out comes Ryback as he comes in to save the day to save Ziggler, and he goes right after Rusev. Rusev runs out of the ring. And a bit of a long promo by Ryback. He's recalling his days when he broke into the WWE, when he first came in on Tough Enough, and it just didn't work out for him. And then he came back as one of the members of the Nexus. He just reflects back, and then he goes, you know, just to make a long story short, he had a great, you know, he almost gave up on wrestling. He was, you know, as he talked about, you know, his part-time job, his small apartment. It got a little emotional there, but then he got right back into a serious character again, saying that he's got a big problem with Rusev, and that he really wants to go contact with him. But at least he's letting the fans know, the WWE Universe know, that he's ready for a fight anytime he wants, and this is going to pretty much spark a new feud against Rusev. Claiming it's not going to be a USA versus Russia or Bulgarian angle. He wants to really prove that a big man can kick another big man's butt. So I think they picked the right guy to feud with Ryback. Got two big men. Okay, it's about to have a brawl, and I look for these two to either face each other. Maybe if they want to save this for WrestleMania, or hopefully they don't do it by the Royal Rumble. I think this would be a nice billing for a WrestleMania match. I mean, after all, Ryback does need to be put over by somebody. But if he's going to put somebody over, if he's not going to be that guy, Rusev is turning out to be a very good villain and a very unbeatable United States champion. Okay, next we got Nikki Bella versus Natalya. okay, in a Divas non-title match. Of course, Natalya accompanied to the ring by her husband, TJ, and in real life husband, Tyson Kidd, as Nikki Bella, of course, facing Natalya after she had defeated her sister Brie over at the special holiday edition of, actually the holiday edition of Monday Night Raw last Monday. Nikki Bella, of course, falls into the arms of TJ, and of course Natalya takes exception to that, and so did Brie. And with that distraction, Natalya ends up losing the match, and there's your winner, Nikki Bella, by a pinfall. So, Nikki Bella, we know what she's doing. I mean, I really didn't think they should have not ever ended that angle between Nikki and Brie, to tell you the truth. With Nikki turning on Brie at SummerSlam after her match against Stephanie McMahon. It was a short-lived storyline. I don't think it was going anywhere. I don't think the ball was going anywhere with that angle. So I think what they decided to do at Survivor Series when Nikki had some help with Brie by helping and screwing AJ, and AJ losing the title, it helps her go right back to heel mode. So I think maybe these bells are better off as heels and not as faces, whatever you want to call it. But I don't think they're going to do any more angles like that, to tell you the truth. Nikki and Brie Bella, turning against each other, not happening. So well, we'll just see. I guess maybe they just wrote off the storyline. I guess it just didn't work out. All right, so then of course, now you got the big WWE Tag Team Title match. Okay, now before that happens, okay, there was a segment where Damian Sandow and The Miz was getting ready for their match backstage, and here comes Naomi, of course, Jimmy's wife, coming up to Miz saying, "Thank you very much. Thank you about this, about what you did. I mentioned your name." She spoke with a Hollywood producer saying that he's going to be working with her. Now, The Miz, as you could see, physically on his face, didn't look like he was surprised, because he didn't plan it. I'll tell you what happened later on, and Naomi was very, very happy about it. So that got The Miz really excited. Now the tag team title match between Jimmy and Jey Uso against Damian Mizdow and The Miz for the WWE Tag Team Championship. And the match was pretty good. I mean, I thought this was one of the best matches I've seen in tag team, wrestling history. Because these guys gave it their all. Damian Sandow, one hell of a performer, continues to mimic The Miz and what he does, and the Usos, high-flying action, in your face. And then, of course, now here's the part of the match. The Miz actually pulls Damian Sandow, puts him in the way to get knocked out by Jey Uso. And as much as The Miz tried to carry the match himself while Damian Sandow's knocked outside of the apron, outside of the ring, the Usos finish off The Miz. And there you have it. New tag team champions for the second time. It's the Usos. Wins back the WWE tag team titles. And they celebrated. And then Naomi finally reveals that they played The Miz. So it was just to amp The Miz up, to make him a little slight lightheaded. And now, that was just to get the concentration off him. And now the Usos are the WWE Tag Team Champions. Pretty good match. As I say, I gave it a 5. A big, big 5. And I'll tell you something. Couldn't happen to those two young men right there. And, of course, related to Dwayne Johnson, of course, in the Mavias. And just Alpha. It's just a great Samoan family heritage. Okay, now that we have that, Cesaro, of course, cuts a promo right before his match against, well, they didn't mention the opponent, but I have to kind of agree with Cesaro, because I liked Cesaro a lot, a very good talent in the ring. He worked his ass off just to get to the point where he is now. Cesaro was just, to me, in my opinion, I thought he was working his way up into a big, big, serious main event guy. He was just getting a lot of stuff off his chest. He was talking about how he won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal at WrestleMania 30, and of course, he fails to mention being a Paul Heyman guy for a while until they just wrote that storyline off. And he was talking about, listen, he really didn't need any fans. Now they're starting to really build him up to a heel. But I got news for you, folks. I love Jobber, but it kind of like hints something that was told to him backstage by creative. You're not really connecting with anybody. And then all of a sudden, his opponent is announced. It's none other than Bad News Barrett, who returns for his first match in 6 months and faces, of course, Cesaro, and makes short work of him 1, 2, 3, and it's too bad. Cesaro was such a great talent coming up, and they think they should have given him more work, much more development, and now here he is in stage 1 once again. So I don't know if his contract's coming to an end, or they just feel that maybe he needs to change his persona in order to connect with the fans. I certainly thought he was over with me with his king of swinging his opponents all around periodically until his opponent got dizzy, or maybe he got dizzy. But I don't know if they found anything from him, honestly, with creative. I don't know what the creative is doing right now, but you know what? It's just your guess as good as mine. But Cesaro is very good. What he does. He had that little thing with Oksana for a while. With the 12 different languages, including himself, and they just don't know what to do with him right now. They just don't. They made him a Paul Heyman guy, which was the last pretty much good run that he had. I don't think he needed Paul Heyman to get him over. I thought that, maybe if they let him be himself, and this is the biggest problem with the company right now, they're not letting the wrestlers be themselves to actually just develop in character. It's a shame. All right, so now we move on to Luke Harper. Okay, he cuts a promo before his big match later on in the evening, okay, before facing Jack Swagger. So just a little bit of a Luke Harper segment. The Ascension, of course, they cut a promo. We've already seen that. And of course now you get their big match, but Jack Swagger versus Luke Harper. Pretty good match between the two. They both were actually, I wouldn't say it was one of the greatest matches. I kind of seen some botches here and there between Swagger and Harper, but Luke Harper, of course, wins the match by pinfall as Jack Swagger continues to fail and just lose and lose and lose, demoting him right down. I don't think if anybody doesn't have any connection with the fans, certainly it's not Cesaro. It's this guy, Jack Swagger. He didn't make any connection with me at all as a fan. No, he didn't. Jack Swagger, I thought, was good. He had potential in the very beginning with that smile, but that was the only thing he pretty much entertained me on. But other than being Michael Cole's lackey, and he actually was picking it right back up again as one of his Culture's men, as a heel. But now they make him face. I don't know what they're going to go with this guy now, Jack Swagger. I'm glad to say I thought that Christopher Lewinsky had better charisma than he did, the Tough Enough winner. At least he had a gimmick, and he had some charisma, with Harvard University gimmick that he had many years ago. But it's just sad. We see with Jack Swagger. What's he going to do next? I don't know. Maybe he needs up Culture again to be his mouthpiece. We'll see what happens. All right, so there you have that on that one. John Cena, Edge, and Christian talking about the old days. Of course, Christian makes up something stupid, saying, "Oh, John, remember when Edge beat up your father?" Not a very smart comment, but that was only to get the crowd like, "Oh." Cena thanks Edge for all of his years and support, and just gives him a big hug, and of course, Edge goes right down to the ring. Getting him to get ready for his peep show segment at the end of the show. Okay, next you have Roman Reigns. Taking on his former friend Seth Rollins. This was a pretty good match. These two guys worked very hard in this match. I thought this match had a lot of energy, had a lot of excitement. Big Show comes down to be the guest commentator, and of course we all know why he was really there, to really mess with Roman Reigns. At the end, of course, it was a disqualification. Big Show grabs Roman Reigns and then throws him against the table, tossing the table right on Roman Reigns, getting him beat up. And this kid, of course, relax, folks. All for all you Roman Reigns admirers, he's not really hurt. This is a storyline angle. This is going to lead up to maybe some sort of a big match at the Royal Rumble, or maybe possibly, if they're very smart, WrestleMania. Because in my opinion, you're going to have big feuds. Why don't they just maybe drag this timeline all the way to WrestleMania? They can have a match at the Royal Rumble, but have them actually fight for a while as participants in the Rumble. Don't have them in a one-on-one match. You might, Vince McMahon, if he's smart and the creative is smart, they'll put these guys in the Royal Rumble, and then you'll see them in certain spots of the angle of the match where they just want to knock the hell out of each other. You got Superman punch against the big knockout by the Big Show. So this, I like the way the Big Show is going to put over Roman Reigns. And the WWE thinks that this is going to be the next man to replace John Cena. Let's give Roman Reigns a little bit more time to really mess with some big guys like the Big Show, and maybe possibly next mess with the Authority. He's already feuded with Kane. I like to see the Big Show in that spot right now. Okay, Bray Wyatt has a little segment, talks about the thing with Dean Ambrose. He does it from an ambulance. It's really funny. He does it from an ambulance. He talks about it, and that was pretty much it. Ambulance just pulls out. That's all we see. Daniel Bryan comes out and addresses the WWE Universe. Okay, folks, ready for this? He made it seem like he was going to do what Edge did, announce his retirement, but no. He asked the fans all the way at the end. He talked about his life, losing his father, marrying, he's marrying Brie Bella. But when it came down to his health and everything, will he be at the 2015 Royal Rumble? His catchphrase, yes, yes, and it's heard around the world now. Daniel Bryan will be, at least he's mentioning, at least he believes now, he will be in the WWE 2015 Royal Rumble in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania at the Wachovia Center. And I can't wait. I just might want to go down to Philadelphia and check this out. Daniel Bryan returns at the Royal Rumble as one of the participants. Let's just see that WWE. Let's just hope that the WWE's not really rushing him back, because I'm kind of still worried he might break his neck again, because those are pretty serious injuries, and it takes a little bit much longer, maybe up to a year, to get back from it. But if Daniel Bryan feels he could be back in action, he could be right back into the thick of things. Now that Roman Reigns is back on the roster, and now you got the other man, Daniel Bryan. This now is going to get the wheels turning on the company again, so that John Cena does not have to be that man again to carry on the main event status. As much as we love and hate John Cena, at least he gives us a reason to watch him. Either you hate the guy or you love the guy. So there, now you have on that one. Okay, now The Miz and Mizdow, of course, had a segment with Edge and Christian, and this had to be one of the most funniest segments I've ever seen. Okay, first of all, of course, the cheap jokes are the Miz showing his arrogance, and the Christian with his couple of cheap jokes saying that, you need to be the new superstar. Certs her lifesaver because he got bad breath. And of course, Edge will never lose that humor and charisma as he does. He takes out a sassy puppet that looks like him from the Attitude Era with the long hair. And then, of course, The Miz, along with Damien Mizdow, looks and says, "What is that?" Edge goes, "Well, that's my stunt double." And this really floored me on the floor. I mean, just watching this, I'm cracking up there. I'm like, you know what? That made me laugh, honestly, because, Edge was a nice guy. Not only is he really truthful when you meet him in person, but Adam Copeland just really just floors you with all the stuff he does. You know what? He doesn't have to wrestle to entertain you. His mic skills backed up in what he did, and if for those of you who are just watching wrestling right now, go to WWE Network for only $9.99. Watch Edge's greatest moments. Of course, not aside from this live sex show with Lita, but Edge, he was just so great as a heel, great as a face. He was just so funny and outspoken. Him and Christian, these two, you can tell, grew up watching the business. They love wrestling, and these guys just. They don't seem to never stop entertaining me. If it wasn't The Rock or Steve Austin, or if it wasn't Roddy Piper, or Randy Savage, or or Chris Jericho, or The Rock, I mean, Edge and Christian, if you go put those guys, you put those guys on TV, or honorable mention Mick Foley. You need anybody to hang out with that can make you laugh. There's an example right there. Edge just really floored me tonight with his humor, and thank you again, Edge, for your time at the WWE. I can't wait to meet you again, because you really, really cracked me up with that little puppet segment. Well, he makes a match, being that they're in charge of Raw, and they put Damien Mizdow and The Miz in a match the same evening after losing the tag team titles against the debut of the Ascension, and they make short work of The Miz and Damien Mizdow, and now it gets worse. So, newsflash, for the forecast of the time being, look for The Miz to start getting tired, and to pretty much get rid of his stunt double, The Mizdow, so that this will really get Damien Sandow back on track of a single status at his serious side. But I'm sorry, folks. I'm just having to laugh at that Edge segment. It was just so funny. All right, Renee Young interviews Seth Rollins before he comes out for the final segment of the Edge and Peep Show. And Seth Rollins explains to Renee Young, I'm going to invite two people, John Cena and Brock Lesnar. Okay, so now you got the final segment. Edge and Christian comes out. Here comes Seth Rollins with his briefcase and J&J Security. And, of course, they're popping a couple of good jokes right there. And Edge once again makes me laugh. It's one of his comments being that, if you think that you're just better than me, then you're dead wrong. I don't, all the compliments, Seth Rollins saying I grew up watching you guys. Edge is not falling for it. Neither is Christian. And Edge says there's only one thing, if you think that you're better than me, all right, aside from if you can perform like a live sex show, just like me and Lita. I can't believe Edge actually got away with that. This is a PG show. You know, I'm surprised you're not doing it over here with the Big Show, because he invites the Big Show to the ring. But unfortunately, Seth Rollins, after he calls out John Cena, he finally comes out and goes, "Hold on, John Cena, before you come in here, there's a real reason why I actually called you out here." Actually, this was before Cena comes out, I'm sorry. He knocks out Christian, puts Edge in a position where he is going to stop him, okay? And Seth Rollins then pops the question to Cena. Cena comes down the ring, he stops. Wait, before you do anything, stupid Cena, I'm just letting you know that, okay? He actually starts threatening Cena. Make the right decision or I break this man's neck. Talking about Edge's family. He's a family man. He's a father. He's a husband. And then John Cena, of course, let's just make this quick. After a good 5 or 10 minutes, Cena finally gives in. He goes, "I bring back the authority." That is exactly what Seth Rollins wanted. But Seth Rollins then proceeds by saying, "Okay, but you should know me better than that, John. I'm going to break his neck anyways." He's about to. Cena comes right in, attacks Seth Rollins. Of course, J&J security go after him, and so of course Cena, of course, breaks out. You know, he gets up again, and out goes Seth Rollins and the authority, and of course Edge, of course, getting out of the way. And as soon as they get back over to the Titantron of the stage, who comes out after celebrating? Stephanie McMahon and Triple H, as they celebrate at the end of the show. What a way to cap off the show. There was not. All in all, I gave this show a 5.0. I thought this was one of the better segments, the better shows I've seen on Monday Night Raw in the history of the WWE. This is the way they have to build up pay-per-views, build up shows, and build up feuds. I like the way that they built up the feud between the Big Show and Roman Reigns. Okay, Daniel Bryan announcing he's coming back to the Royal Rumble, mixed it with Edge and Christian Schumer. Okay, and a good tag team title match with the Usos winning it back from the Damian Mizdow and the Miz. I thought, and the debut of the Ascension, I thought this was pretty good. You know, I didn't see any flaws in tonight. Okay, not too many backstage segments. They did a great job. No stupid advertising. Oh, and if you notice, less mention of the WWE app. If you didn't catch it, no mentions of the WWE app at all. Okay, they only showed it during replay mode, but that was not really necessary. Hopefully the WWE catches on, and that's hopefully that's part of their New Year's resolutions. Stop advertising and shoving down the WWE app down our throats, because they didn't really talk about shoving the WWE network down our throats. But don't worry, we get it. Everybody does have the network. We want it. We got the network for a reason. Are you going to improve the product? Okay, this is what we want to see. But I like the right step in the right direction right now. What they're doing, and if you notice, no Bo Dallas, well, because he's injured. They have not done anything with Adam Rose. Okay, we didn't see Dean Ambrose tonight. They only talked about him, but you know, we already know what's in the cards for him. He will be facing Bray Wyatt next week on Raw in a big ambulance match. That's how they're gonna kick it off. Well, hope you enjoyed my review. Give me your big opinions and your thoughts and your comments. Like this video, and I will talk to you tomorrow night on the main events review.